Most people wake up believing they are the author of their lives, convinced that every choice they make is steering the future. They build routines, make plans, set goals, and imagine that discipline alone can protect them from chaos and uncertainty. But the strange truth hiding beneath everyday life is that control is often nothing more than a comforting story we repeat to ourselves. The illusion is powerful because without it, we would have to confront how fragile, unpredictable, and temporary our existence really is. From childhood, people are taught that hard work guarantees success and good decisions guarantee good outcomes in the end. Society rewards confidence, certainty, and ambition, because hesitation makes the system look unstable and difficult to trust. So humans learn to speak as if tomorrow belongs to them, even though tomorrow has never promised itself to anyone at all. A single phone call, accident, illness, betrayal, or economic collapse can erase years of carefully constructed expectations overnight. People say they control their emotions, yet most emotions arrive before conscious thought has time to intervene or react properly. Anger rises in seconds, fear appears without permission, and sadness can consume someone even when they desperately resist it. The mind loves to pretend it sits on a throne, directing every feeling like a king commanding obedient servants below him. In reality, much of human behavior is reaction disguised as intention, impulse disguised as wisdom, and habit disguised as freedom. Even identity itself is shaped by forces people never chose and often never fully understand throughout their entire lifetime. No one chooses the family they are born into, the genetics they inherit, or the culture that programs their first beliefs. Language, religion, morality, insecurities, and ambitions are quietly installed long before a person develops independent awareness of them. Yet many still walk through life believing their personality emerged entirely from conscious design rather than invisible conditioning. Humans also overestimate their control because the brain constantly edits reality into neat stories that feel logical and organized. When events go well, people credit intelligence and effort, but when events collapse, they blame bad luck or unfair timing. This creates the comforting illusion that success is predictable if someone simply follows the right formula with enough consistency. But history is filled with brilliant people who failed and ordinary people who succeeded because chance always remains involved. A person can spend decades building wealth only to lose everything through circumstances completely beyond personal power or preparation. Another person can stumble into opportunities they never earned simply because they were standing in the right place at the right time. The world does not distribute outcomes according to fairness, merit, or moral balance, despite how deeply humans wish it did. Control feels real mainly because people remember the moments when planning worked and ignored the countless moments when it failed. Modern technology has intensified this illusion by giving humans the feeling that every problem can eventually be managed or solved. Phones provide instant answers, algorithms predict behavior, and social media creates the fantasy that identity can be perfectly curated. People monitor sleep cycles, calories, finances, productivity, and emotions as if life can be optimized into permanent stability and peace. Yet anxiety continues growing because more control does not eliminate uncertainty. It simply makes uncertainty feel more insulting and unbearable. The harder humans try to dominate life, the more frightened they become when life refuses to obey their expectations and demands. This is why small disruptions can trigger disproportionate panic because they threaten the illusion holding a person's sense of certainty together. Traffic, rejection, delayed messages, criticism, or unexpected change suddenly feel unbearable because control was secretly tied to emotional security. When reality refuses to cooperate, people often experience anger, not because life changed, but because life exposed their helplessness. Relationships reveal this illusion more brutally than almost anything else humans experience during the course of their lives together. People believe love can secure loyalty forever if they say the right words or become valuable enough to another person emotionally. But no one can fully control another human heart because desire, emotion, and attachment constantly evolve beyond conscious management or prediction. Someone can love deeply today and feel distant tomorrow despite every promise they once believed with complete sincerity and conviction. Even the body itself eventually betrays the illusion of control, no matter how disciplined or powerful someone appears from the outside. Humans exercise, diet, and pursue health, believing effort, can negotiate with mortality if they remain careful enough over the years. But aging continues without permission. Cells mutate silently, and death arrives regardless of wealth, intelligence, morality, or social status. The body is not owned in the way people imagine. It is borrowed temporarily from nature until nature eventually reclaims it. Religion, philosophy, and spirituality have all wrestled with this uncomfortable reality in different forms throughout human civilization and history. Some traditions teach surrender to divine will, while others encourage acceptance of chaos and impermanence as unavoidable truths of existence. The common thread beneath them is the recognition that absolute control has never belonged to human beings in the first place. What changes is only the language used to explain why people suffer when reality refuses to match their expectations and desires. Ironically, the illusion of control is not entirely harmful because it helps humans function within an unpredictable and unstable world. Without some belief in agency, people would struggle to take action, build families, create art, or pursue long-term ambitions consistently. The problem begins when the illusion becomes absolute, and people expect life to reward effort with guaranteed certainty every single time. That expectation creates frustration because reality was never designed to obey personal narratives, no matter how convincing they may sound. There is a difference between influence and control, but many people confuse the two without realizing the psychological consequences involved. Humans can influence outcomes through preparation, discipline, intelligence, and awareness, but influence is never the same as complete authority. A sailor can adjust the sails carefully, but the sailor cannot command the wind, the waves, or the coming storm. Wisdom begins when people understand they are participants within reality, rather than rulers standing outside and above it permanently. Many forms of suffering are amplified by resistance to this truth because the ego desperately wants permanence, predictability, and reassurance always. People cling to plans, identities, relationships, and expectations because uncertainty feels like a threat to psychological survival and emotional stability. But life keeps demonstrating the same lesson repeatedly. Nothing stays fixed long enough for ownership to become truly permanent or secure. Every season changes, every structure weakens, every memory fades, and every human being eventually disappears into the passage of time. Accepting limited control does not mean becoming passive, hopeless, or emotionally detached from the responsibilities of ordinary human life entirely. It means acting with intention while understanding that outcomes are never fully guaranteed, regardless of confidence, effort, or strategic planning. A person can love honestly without controlling another heart, work hard without controlling success, and live fully without controlling death. That mindset creates humility because it replaces entitlement with gratitude and replaces arrogance with awareness of life's unpredictable nature. The illusion of control also affects how humans judge one another, often creating unnecessary cruelty and misunderstanding within society itself. People assume the poor are lazy, the sick are careless, or the unsuccessful simply failed to make smarter decisions in life. This belief protects the comforting fantasy that disaster only happens to those who deserve it through weakness or irresponsibility somehow. But reality repeatedly shows that tragedy can strike anyone regardless of preparation, morality, intelligence, or personal ambition and effort. Perhaps the deepest fear hidden beneath the illusion is the fear that human beings are far less powerful than they imagine themselves. People fear randomness because randomness cannot be negotiated with, manipulated, bribed, or emotionally persuaded to behave more mercifully to award them. Control gives the ego a sense of importance, making individuals feel central within a universe that often appears painfully indifferent instead. Without that illusion, humans must confront the possibility that certainty was never promised and permanence was never part of the deal. Yet, there is strange freedom hidden inside that realization, once someone stops fighting reality with endless resistance and desperate attachment. When people stop demanding total control, they become more capable of experiencing the present moment without obsessive fear of future outcomes. They listen more carefully, love more honestly, and appreciate ordinary experiences because they understand how temporary everything actually is. Peace does not come from controlling life completely, but from understanding that life was never fully controllable to begin with.